I just took a cruise to new destinations on a new line on an old ship. And that ship was the Holland America Line Eurodam, part of Holland America's signature class of cruise ships. It was originally launched in September of 2007, which may not seem that old, but by cruise ship standards, she is an old girl. Cruise ships don't live quite as long as people do. She holds 924 crew and 2,104 passengers at double occupancy. This is assuming each room has 2 people. So a lot of cruise ships often sail with that over 100% capacity, but don't worry if your ship is over 100% full, you're fine, you're not going to get kicked off. I heard many things about Holland America pre-cruise, like it's only for old people, it's the hospice of the seas, and that this ship was way too small, but were they true? We embarked the ship in Seattle, Washington, and headed straight to the buffet for lunch. Usually I try to avoid the buffet on embarkation day, but on this ship there weren't many other options. This can be a con of some older cruise ships, so I wondered if the food would become repetitive as the cruise went on. Then we headed out to deck to watch us sail away from Seattle. Then unpacked our room and I proceeded to decorate my door. We found a lot of cruise decorations. We did not find a lot of cruise decorations on this ship, less common than on other cruise lines like Carnival. Next, we checked out a venue called the Rolling Stones Lounge, which became a quick favorite of ours during the cruise. They have game shows in here each night, as well as a live band. They were quite good, but never really played anything past the 80s in here, which may be due to Holland America's higher age per person. They don't have a ton of younger people. You pretty much had a picture behind you. You could not see, you had to ask yes or no questions to the crowd to figure out who or what you were. This is one thing I do prefer about a Carnival cruise. The game shows tend to be a lot higher budget and more theatrics in them, and in the theater. But on this cruise, we did see several theater shows. Tonight's theater show was the Welcome Aboard show. We were told this would be a taste of what was to come during the week, and I quite enjoyed this one, so I hope the quality would continue during the cruise. Holland America has recently overhauled all its entertainment program to add new theater shows, as well as several more live acts throughout the ship, like a violinist and another band. I would suspect this is due to how popular live music is on Holland America. Even with these extra performance venues, the Rolling Stones Lounge was quite full every night. That night, we also visited Billboard on Board, which is the ship's open concept piano bar, which was good fun, and because this was right next to the casino, they were both open air. I'm sure it was great for the casino players to be able to hear the music while they were testing the fates. The next morning, we went to the brunch in the main dining room, which Holland America calls the Alaskan brunch. We loved some of the dishes like the salmon chowder and disliked others such as the Monte Cristo, but it was all good fun and I would recommend you go. Then I found my first duckie of the cruise, and I was pleasantly surprised to see any ducks on Holland America. On this cruise, I brought 3 ducks to hide, and I did, for the first time, see one of my ducks re-hidden. It was like he had a new life. It was very cool to see. Then we went to the Royal Dutch Tea Time in the MDR, or main dining room. Holland America is a Dutch cruise line, and that is very prevalent all over the ship. This tea time was okay, but wouldn't even compare to another tea time we would have at one of our ports in the cruise. This night we went back to the theater to see a show called Class Act, which celebrated songs made famous by women. I was able to film this show, which I found very inconsistent on every cruise line from ship to ship, or even show to show. We returned to that cabin our night to a surprise. Oh no, not him. I haven't found another cruise line that still gives you chocolates at night in years, so it was a good bedtime snack during the cruise. In the morning, we headed to the main dining room for breakfast, where I was reunited with my cruise love, the Eggs Benedict. I also got some passion fruit yogurt, which is a little too tart for my liking, but I'm sure it's great for you, like, health-wise. My dad got the Belgian waffles, and the waiter told us he flew all the way to Belgium to get us for us that night, so what a guy. Later in the cruise, we returned to the buffet, where they had sushi, which was a great surprise and became my lunch pretty much every day, along with the ice cream, of course. We were impressed by the curry offerings as well, which surprisingly is something that I have found that almost every cruise line does quite well. The salad bar also had beets on it, which my grandma was very excited about. The dessert station on the ship was also very nice. They had crepes each day and cakes and ice cream in a waffle cone. I will mention that if you're a gambler, this is a smaller casino than most ships, but the people on there seem to make do. I also had room service delivered to my cabin several times throughout the cruise. Holland America is one of the few cruise lines who still offers free room service. I had sliders and chicken nuggets delivered to my room, and the chicken nuggets looked and tasted exactly like McDonald's. Speaking of my cabin, this was one of the weirdest design flaws I have ever seen on a cruise ship anywhere. So when the couch bed would pull out, it would block the entire hallway. So anytime you had to go to the bathroom at night or get up in the morning, you had to literally climb over the bed, which is nothing like I've seen on a cruise. I would have been more mad if Holland America didn't still have twice a day housekeeping. So they could turn out the bed into the couch during the day so you didn't have to climb over it. Many cruise lines such as Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and MSC have done away with the twice a day housekeeping, which is a nice touch that Holland America still has it. And really, one thing I do feel Holland America is lacking in would be trivias and little games during the day like Carnival, Royal, or even Princess. On this cruise, there was one trivia day, and it was almost always music trivia. I don't think just younger people enjoy trivia, so I think it's something Holland America should definitely do more of, as well as parties. On our cruise, there was one party known as the Orange Party, and if you're wondering why it was orange, it's because orange is the color of the Dutch royal family. As I mentioned, Dutch Cruise Line, it's very prominent. It was in the Rolling Stones lounge, and it was packed. So I feel like the demand is there for the parties, and they could realistically move those up to the pool deck. They have the space. Speaking of space, I didn't enjoy how small the space of the atrium was. I never saw more than 10 people hanging out down here, and the atrium usually feels like a hub. This one did not feel like a hub, felt like kind of an afterthought. Another thing that was way too small on this cruise was the shops. Like, this was it, the whole ship. And you could not find any Holland America merch in there, except for maybe a pin or a bear with the logo, no shirts, no hats. But that, in which it was very disappointing given how much we enjoyed our cruise, and I wanted to buy something to remember Holland America. Right next to the shops is something I've never seen on any cruise ships, which is a sewing/craft room. I'm not sure if it was open to the public or there was some crafting group on this cruise or something, but it was bizarre to see that on there. This was probably the best cruise ship library I'd ever seen ever. There was LED lights around the books, there was actual genres, and I had a great ocean view. And it was actually very quiet, which might seem like a given. But a lot of cruise ships mix their library and their game room, but not Holland America. They mixed it with another venue called the Crow's Nest, which was located on deck 11. This was definitely my favorite place to hang out on the ship. It was part coffee bar, part observation lounge, part game room, part shore excursions desk. Only problem is this was also the rest of the ship's favorite space on board. So if you wanted to it got really crowded during the day, so if you wanted to get a really good seat, you had to arrive kind of early. It did get quite noisy in here at times, but it wasn't too much of a problem. Neither was the size of the ship. It felt pretty perfect on this cruise, and the ship didn't feel old. We had several outlets in the room, as well as USBs by the beds, which is rare to find on cruise ships that were built this long ago. We really enjoyed this cruise and enjoyed the shows. I loved the music, and the food was some of the best I've ever had on a cruise. You may have heard me say earlier that we went to the Alaskan brunch, and that's because this cruise did visit Alaska. And if you want to know about that experience and all of our wonderful things we did and saw, make sure to watch next week's video. See you then. Bye.